found a halfway house. But the other thing is, and it's absolutely right, Sarah, I'm the new boy in the department, and I'm new to this field. And everything I've learned about what you guys are doing is just so exciting and so bound up with what I feel so passionate about, which is about the localism agenda, the devolution of power to local communities, but giving them the support, the encouragement, the training and financial support where necessary. That's really why I've come into the department. It's what I want to do, and I'm going to learn so much from you guys. So I apologize in advance if, as the new boy on the block, some of the things will seem a little naive, because I am new, I am learning. And indeed, in the last quarter of an hour, 20 minutes, I've learned a huge amount just in conversation with a few of you. But I will well understand if at the end you feel a little bit frustrated and share that view that politicians like babies' nappies should be changed regularly for exactly the same reason. And I hope that you won't think that what I have to say is the equivalent of the contents of a baby's nappy, but it is genuinely said from the heart. But I've got to put more details on it. And one of the things we were just talking about is that so far, a lot of the work that you do is liaised through, linked in with my department at DCLG, and yet there's so many other government departments that we've got to step up to the plate. And I want to start finding ways of linking what you guys are doing, what we're doing in DCLG, with some of my colleagues in other departments. But I'm genuinely delighted to be here today, and as I say, to support all the work that you're doing. And you will know from hearing from Vince Cable yesterday that he is equally passionate about finding new ways forward. And he talked about then in his speech yesterday some of the initiatives that the government are doing to open the social investment market within the UK to entrepreneurs and businesses, including startups. And he talked about initiatives such as the next round of the Regional Growth Fund with a further £1 billion. He talked about the work underway to create the new business bank and the startup loan scheme. And our overall aim in government is to try and create the conditions in which social investment and community finance can flourish. And as you will all know, the Cabinet Office has made this easier by bringing together the various range of initiatives into one document, the Growing the Social Investment Market document published last month. And I'm sure you are well aware, far better than I am, that social ventures are increasingly looking beyond traditional forms of grant funding to new sources of funding for their business plans, and funding channels that will oblige social ventures, of course, to develop robust business models which are sustainable in the long term. And you've seen already many examples of that happening across the country, with communities coming together to form cooperatives and startup enterprises in order to save, for example, valued assets and services in their own local communities. In Hudsell, for example, in North Yorkshire, a local community came together to take over a local pub despite difficult market conditions. And near me in Bath, just outside Bath, in the village of Hinton St George, the community, like so many others have done, discovered there was no buyer for their local shop, and they came together with a plan to run it for themselves. And they're now, and many others like them, are running successful and sustainable operations. And we're looking, therefore, in the department for further ways to help support such initiatives. And as Vince touched on yesterday, the formation of organisations such as Big Society Capital will create substantial new sources of funds to invest in the sector. I mean, Big Society Capital, we hope, will have up to 600 million in capital to be invested. And that, as you know, will come from the England share of the dormant bank accounts, which we estimate will be up to 400 million. And of course, there's another 200 million coming from the big four banks, HSBC, Barclays, Lloyds, TSB and the RBS. And new contractual approaches based on payment by results will allow social enterprises to harness the social value that they generate. But within the department, we are looking at a range of new initiatives and taking them forward to help still further, to make a real difference in communities. The first, as you will know, came about because of a speech given by the Deputy Prime Minister when he gave the Scarman lecture last November. And he, in that speech, highlighted the difficulties that ethnic minority businesses and would-be entrepreneurs were reporting in accessing business loans. And he asked my colleague, Andrew Stunnell, to lead a review into the barriers that are preventing some BME groups from accessing business loans. And it became increasingly clear during that review, which is going to report back to the Deputy Prime Minister later this month, that there are some of our BME communities facing very significant barriers when it comes to accessing business finance. And particularly affected groups, Black African, Caribbean, Pakistani and Bangladeshis in particular are having those difficulties. And we've spoken to a wide range of individuals and groups, those that run businesses, researchers, banks themselves, many other people. And it is clear that the role of CDFIs remains critically important in ensuring that deprived communities from these backgrounds, and indeed all backgrounds, have access to credit that they badly need in order to start up businesses. And so the report will make a number of recommendations aimed at helping ethnic minority entrepreneurs overcome some of the barriers that I've referred to. And as just one example, I'm absolutely delighted that Ben over there is working with the British Bankers Association to ensure that we have a referral system in place so that those who are declined loans by the banks can automatically be referred to the appropriate CDFI for a fresh consideration of their loan applications. And we'll be announcing further initiatives when the report is published a little later in the year. Now, the other thing, more generally, that we're doing really stems out of a piece of legislation that was passed last year, the Localism Act 2011. And we believe that that is going to be one of the key drivers to making real progress by giving individual communities a number of additional rights so that they can take greater control over things happening and assets within their local areas. For example, the community right to challenge became law in June of this year. And that ensures that parish councils, community groups with good ideas about how they can run local services differently, more efficiently, more effectively, and in a better way to meet the needs of the community, get a fair hearing. And if their proposals do stack up, a real chance to be able to bid to run the services. And of course, we're providing a range of ways of helping them with cash and advice and support. And only 2 weeks ago, within the first week of my becoming the relevant minister, I was able to sign the commencement order for the community right to bid in England. And this new right, I'm sure most of you know, will provide greater opportunities for communities to come together to save and take over highly valued local assets. Now, we know there's a lot of that already happens. We know many shops, many pubs, many other things have already been taken over very successfully. But we want to make sure we provide the help and support and the rights to enable more communities to be able to do just that. The right means that if an owner comes to sell an asset which previously the community has had listed as a community asset, then effectively we can stop the clock for up to 6 months for that community group to get together, to develop a business plan of how to look after and run that asset, and to put together a financial package to enable them to do so, giving them a much better chance of being able to succeed in taking over that particular asset. Of course, as I said, it builds on work that's already been done. It's not new, but the rights are new, and the support we're giving is new. In 1992, there were I think, 33 community-owned shops. We already have today significantly more, nearly 300 such shops now in operation, and we're expecting a further 20 to be opened by the end of the year. And I mentioned, just for example, the Georgian Dragon earlier on, and that was a very good example of the sort of thing that they're doing. But if we're going to do that successfully, we have to provide support mechanisms to do it. And that's why we've recognized that whether you're taking over an asset or seeking to bid to run a service in your community, one that's previously run by the Principal Council, for example, they will need access to finance, and they'll also need access to help and advice and business planning advice and so on. And finance and access to finance, particularly risk capital, is clearly a big barrier, and we want to find ways of helping to overcome that. And so in part, that's why we've now announced a £30 million support programme that will be available to help such groups make the most of the opportunities with the new rights that we're putting on offer. And along with the support, we also recognise, as I've said, that they need access to finance. And we believe that that can often be raised within the community itself. And I'm very keen to support that type of community finance, something you're all engaged in already. So today I want to announce yet another measure that I hope is going to help. Now, over the last 3 years, some of you have been involved in this, and I'm very grateful for your feed into it. Cooperatives UK and Locality have undertaken government-funded research examining the potential of a community share scheme as a way of attracting community investment. And they invited 10 projects to test the idea, to look at the barriers that could restrict their growth and how those barriers could be overcome. And as I'm sure you're all aware, we've got a number already in existence. Community share issue is a mechanism which allows community-based social enterprise to invite individuals to purchase withdrawable shares in the scheme. And in doing that, it empowers communities, increases local buy-in by giving members a stake in the enterprise and a tangible involvement in future development. Members can receive a fair return on their investment, as well as sharing the social, environmental or community benefits of the enterprise. But the outcome of the Action Research project confirmed that community shares not only help communities access funding directly, but are a good lever for accessing complementary grants and loan funding. They provide a viable option to the undercapitalisation of the community sector. Well, since about 2009, we know of about 8 community share offers that have been completed, raising between them some £15 million from 15,000 members, with interest ranging amazingly from farming, pubs, shops, sports clubs, and renewable energy. One group raised £8,000, while another £1 million. And the number of investors has ranged from between 40 to over 1,000. And in my own constituency of Bath, we have a wonderful example, the Bath and West Community Energy. It was established only a couple of years ago, and they raised funds to bring alternative sources of energy to their to local communities within the city of Bath. For example, the installation of solar, voltaic, hydro and wind technologies, and they're currently developing a scheme to use an Archimedean screw to get energy from it within our river. And with nearly 200 members, they've raised already £722,000 through community share offer, well exceeding their original target. And that in turn has levered in over £1 million loan finance to fund 12 of their projects. And of course, the community share scheme is still very young. And many enterprises are learning that share offers can take a considerable time to develop, to promote, to launch and to mature. So providing support, the sharing of learning, giving examples of good practice within the sector will be critically important to developing the market. And so today I am absolutely delighted to announce that following the work that was done by Locality and Co-op UK, we are now establishing a community share unit, which will help to grow the community share market, to tackle the barriers, to promote best practice, so that many more people can benefit from this innovative and exciting form of community finance. And this new unit that we launch here today will, between now and 2015, we hope, get over 300 social ventures up and running. And by 2015, we hope that of those 300, at least 125 will have got to a share issue stage. And we hope that at least 80 of those will already have achieved by 2015 their target amount. And we reckon that the capital that can then be levered in could be in the range of £32 million. And this unit, which will offer a one-stop support service for community enterprises, investors and practitioners, with services such as checking offer documents. It will facilitate peer support and access to best practice, and it will support business advisors in the field through open training and guidance. And basically why am I here and launching it here? It's because we need your help. I really would welcome your support in drawing awareness of the unit and the resources available and the training available to as many people as you possibly can. And I hope that you will look at ways of integrating the work that you are doing with the community shares model to complement all of the services you already provide. And if any of you want to get involved with the training, become business advisors on the community share scheme, to disseminate the offer within your networks, I'd be absolutely delighted. Please do what you can. The Localism Act then opens up, I believe, huge opportunities for community groups, including social ventures, to bid and run local services and assets, create social investment opportunities as community groups seek finance to purchase buildings or to provide working capital to increase capacity to deliver whichever service they choose to take on. And the community share unit will support people by enabling them to get involved more effectively and get more people involved in various community enterprises using share offers as a way of raising equity finance. My real ambition is to see all of this wide range of opportunities being promoted, supported and helped, so that in the next few years, we build on some fantastic work that's already been done, but give far more communities right around the country to really get involved in all of the activities that go on within their communities. I look forward to working with you over the weeks, months, and possibly, depending on vagaries of reshuffles, years to come. But thank you very much for letting me come here and giving me the opportunity to launch yet another of very many exciting initiatives over the last couple of years. Thank you very much.